My name is Erna, E-R-N-A, Grace. Well, I was only 8, I don't remember that much. But I had 3 aunts and 2 uncles who lived with my grandparents. And we lived at one side of the street, and they lived on the other side of the street in a flat. I remember that much. And then, luckily enough, the one uncle is gone now. He escaped to Britain, and he's managed to come to Scotland as well. But of course, before that, he was in Canada and married a lovely Jewish Canadian girl. My mother and father, and well, my little sister, but she was 6 years younger than I, and there was my grandfather and my grandmother, although I hardly remember my grandfather. My grandmother was unfortunately blind, I remember that. And there was my mother's 2 sisters, two sisters, yes, and her 2 brothers. German, we all spoke German, although my parents spoke Polish when they didn't want me to know what they were saying. We were very religious. My father dragged me to shul on Shabbos. Yeah, well, my parents spoke Hebrew, well, more Jewish, you know, and which is very like German. He was actually a shoemaker to trade, but he became a traveler instead. And then he used to disappear occasionally. And of course, I would ask my mother where he went, and she would say, "Oh, he's just away for a little holiday." But people were hiding him, actually. Friends of his, he was, people came for you if you were Jewish, take you away to the camps. But it was very hard for the people to hide you because of the government found out you were taken away as well, you know. I had young friends. They weren't allowed to play with me after a while because I was Jewish. Quite normal, I would say. I was a bit spoiled because I was the only grandchild. The only one in the family that was married. So, besides my mother. So I was kind of spoiled by the rest of the family, who were very artistic. I don't know, the brown shirts used to go up and down the streets all the time. And they came up to the house, and my mother was holding my little sister, and he just about pushed her out, and my father begged him not to. She nearly went that way, but they went away after that. And I was really quite scared of these brown men, and I kept saying, I want away. So that is why this eventually sent me away. I didn't want to be there.
Can you tell?
I didn't want to leave. Sorry, I didn't want to leave my parents, but I didn't want to stay there. I was very frightened. The school was Jewish school. All Jewish people were in it. It was the only school I was ever at. I was only at it for a year, and mostly I think everybody was frightened. They were frightened to go out, they were frightened to stay in, because these men they punched my father, they hit him quite a bit. And eventually they stopped because I really had known him a long time. He was like a friend. And then all of a sudden turned, It's hard for me to say what they did. They were just big bullies, I would say. And more than big bullies, they were scary people and they didn't like the Jews. So that was it, They just wanted you to get rid of you, more or less, sent you to the camps. But I got away through the kinder transport, and my father took me to the station, put me in a carriageway on my own, but a bit down the road, two ladies came on and looked after me, and I knew them up till a couple of years ago when they both died. And then we went to a place called Harwich in Britain, and then we went down to London. I'm afraid I haven't got a lot of excitement to tell you. Eight. I was 8 when I went on kinder transport. Yeah. Well, I was happy in one way, but I was unhappy that I was leaving them. But they said that they would try and come and see me sometime. And they managed to write letters to the lady that brought me up here for a little while. And then, unfortunately, the letter stopped. My father took me to the train station and put me in a carriage all by myself. My mother wouldn't come to the train. She was too upset. They were just 6 years older than me. That was 8 and 6. They were 14. And one was 2 years older than the other. The sisters. No, because these girls were kind to me, and we just sat and talked, I think, as far as I can remember. And as soon as they spoke about my parents, of course, I started to cry. And said they were sad too that they had left their parents and relations. I just remember I went to the Hook of Holland on the train. And then I went to a place called Harwich in England. There was a camp for the Jewish refugees in Harwich. And then they sent me to London. They were looking for somebody, a lady that could nurse me. I had diphtheria just before I got on that train. And they sent me to a nurse in Glasgow. I was very lucky that I got sent to this lady called Nurse Livingston, who was, she was a married lady, and she was Jewish and a nurse. So she looked after me most of my life. I stayed till, her sons, she had 2 sons who went to the forces, and I stayed there all that time. The end of the war and all that, I stayed there. She was very kind to me, a very nice woman, and she must have been in touch with the kinder transport people.
And what? That was
Glasgow, and I've stayed in Glasgow ever since. I called her mum. She said, "Would you like to call me mum?" And I said yes. And I just called her mum. Yes, they did. Yes, all the time. The boys were very nice to me. The girl, as soon as the lady went out, she'd get a dirty cloth and wipe it over my face and say, do this and do that. Because we all helped in the house, which I would have done, but she was jealous of me, I'm afraid. So she was sent away, and I stayed with the people till the end. The lady herself died. Till I was married. Yes. Yes, I stayed there when I got married. The boys were friends with my husband, and they brought him to the house. Yes. The one Yiddish school, that's it. That's what I went. I was at school for a year. Oh, I went to school after that. I went to school what they used to try to pick out. There was a lady there who was German, and I went to school in Scotland. There was for more than a year. This lady was German, and her husband was British. So I got lessons from her when she taught a sewing class. So I was at school all the time. Never leave school. You're aware of it. I didn't have to do them. We used to make the fire in the morning. We're up at 6 in the morning making the fire and cleaning them out before we did anything. But you didn't have to. But as soon as the lady that kept us, she was a nurse and she had to get out. Pardon? She had to go to work, you know. She brought a lot of children into the world in Glasgow. So we did help. No. Oh yes, well my uncle who had escaped from Germany, he came here and then he was sent to, where he wanted to Canada. And I met him. And I met one aunt came out of Belsen and all that. My sister was very, very young. She was just a baby. And she was sent here to Scotland. And she lived round the corner from where I lived. She was a nice person too. Home, yes. It was just round the corner, and I stayed with her till she fell asleep, sang to her and all that, and it helped her to go to sleep. It was a while, took her a while. Being a baby, it was very hard for her. Oh, yes, we just stayed near each other for a while. Mm-hmm. And I'd see her all the time, yes. They made the people that brought me up made sure that I saw my sister all the time. They were very kind. They wanted me to see my sister, you know. No. Unfortunately not. I just saw that uncle. I saw him for a long time, and then I saw an aunt that had been in a camp in Italy where a cousin was born. We met them all in America after that. I went over to America with my sister and we met the relations there. Very nice. And my uncle went to Canada. Well, I felt I didn't belong to my parents' sort of style, that I had become one of the family here. And of course, we never. They had been in the camp with one of the aunts, but the ants to kill and all that, and some carry on I didn't know about really. Well, we have the oldest one's Martin, and then there's Norman, and then there's my daughter Suzanne, and then it's my younger son David, whom you must have met today. I was a hairdresser. Yes, I've got, is it 6 grandchildren?
I can't remember now.
I think it's 6 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren. I'm a very strong believer, and when I have any trouble, it's the first thing I do. I have my cedar in my bed beside me, and well, I'm an old woman, so I have become that way, a bit more religious, you might say. If I have any trouble, I pray to God, I do. Well, it's not good to forget what our ancestors did, excuse me. I think it's good to remember so we don't get that again, and people like you and this lady would get the same treatment. The Germans were very bad to you all, not only just the Jews, the other people as well, you know. Peace, peace. We have peace and quietness in our life. I think that's the most important, that you get peace and quiet and do what you want.